Witch versus Witch. Early 15th century. The Witch of Salt versus the Witch of Mercury. The sky was a heavy leaden gray, as if it might collapse at any moment, and across it, instead of stars, black cinders of burnt remains drifted down without a sound. The Star Observation Tower, soaring at the highest point of the empire, was a lofty sanctuary untouched by any noise from the ground, but tonight the air here was full of the smell of old metal and a burning, toxic air. The fierce wind flowing along the tower's outer wall wedged into every crevice, making a strange sound like a starving beast howling. The Star Reader's chamber at the top was open on all sides, facing the sky directly, and at its center, enormous and complex machines of copper and brass turned their gears ceaselessly, meshing to observe the movement of the stars. The master of this place, the Star Observer, was the most highly honored scholar in the empire. Reading the map of the gods carved into the night sky, he set the times for farming and found the way for ships on the pitch-black sea, a living lighthouse. His knowledge was noble enough to sway the fate of the nation, yet now he gasped raggedly, staring at the cold iron chains fastened to his ankles. It was because two witches, come to abduct him and take him for their own, had just crossed the tower's railing and entered. The Witch of Salt, who arrived first, was on the outside from the lowly slave class that mined salt at the very bottom of the empire. People thought her a pitiable creature fated to be beaten to death her whole life in a salt cave. But that was a vast smokescreen. In truth, she was a vessel the Witch Association had marked long ago. Medieval nobles took it for granted that women of base status died pickled in the salt of the mines, but the association used that cruel environment to alchemically ripen her body. The hellish labor of soaking in brine and inhaling salt dust for years was in fact a brutal experimental process to replace her organs with salt crystals. Now she bore the title of Mine Overseer, the true master of the salt mines that swayed the nation's finances, yet she still hid her identity behind the label of base birth pinned on her by others. Her skin was covered all over in white salt scabs, and each time she swung her arm, her hide rubbed together with an unpleasant grating sound. The Witch of Mercury, who appeared next, was the same. She had been a lowly woman working as an assistant to the imperial artisan who silvered and gilded the imperial treasures. The nobles regarded her slowly going mad or her body stiffening from the harsh mercury fumes as no more than the sacrifice of a consumable. But this, too, was a thoroughly calculated smokescreen. Hidden behind the low rank of crafting assistant, she took the deadly liquid metal into her body day after day, turning her own blood into a silver venom. Now she had become the head overseeing all imperial craftsmanship, yet the world still knew her only as a pitiable artisan poisoned by toxin. Her skin gleamed a mirror-smooth silver, and wherever she walked, the stone floor melted away under the mercury's toxic power, making a glistening path. You've had a hard time climbing all the way up here, Powder Heap Sister. For someone who spent her whole life crawling in a salt pit, you should know it's an honor to meet such a noble star observer. The Witch of Mercury sneered and swung her hand. From her sleeve, silver mercury shot out like snakes and drenched the tens of thousands of star charts laid across the floor. The precious parchments holding centuries of records blackened and melted the instant the toxic mercury touched them, leaving silver puddles in their place. Mercury was far heavier than water, so even the weight of it flowing along the floor made the whole tower tremble faintly.